All right, the number of Bitcoin millionaires has risen in just 2023 alone by 246%. I'm going to break down what I think that means. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks for already hitting that like. Say hi in the comment. I hope you guys had a wonderful and restful Christmas day. Okay, in my recent live video, guys, I gave you a hot stock pick, Dollar General, ticker DG. Since that video premiered, we are up 12% today, 32% total on the call options that I gave in that video, which were expiring January 19th, strike price 138. I want to just briefly talk about some bearish news on Dollar General that I read in a recent article. And what it did is it highlighted the fact that their earnings have been on decline. In particular, for the last 3 years, the company's earnings have gone down a total of 14%. And this is a good explanation as to why the share price for Dollar General is down 60% since its highs in 2020. Now, in this article, analysts suggest that the company is only going to grow 1.5% per year over the next 3 years, while the overall market is projected to grow at least by 13% year over year for the next 3 years. So why is anybody buying this stock that's down 60% and only has 1.5% projected growth every year for the next 3 years? Well, it could be a hedge, and it also could be foreshadowing a market going into recession in 2024. Now, I don't know if the market will go into a recession, but you know, that inverted yield curve and all the other problems we have, and we've seen that when the Fed actually begins to cut interest rates, the market falls a minimum of 20%. All of this would send some bearish signals to the economy. People would be even having a harder time. We know that debt has gone through the roof in the last couple of years. People are living off their credit cards, trying to knock out those Christmas gifts, rent, gas, and the price of food. And so all of this has the potential of driving consumers back to Dollar General to get their everyday goods. And this is perhaps why the stock bottomed out and is slowly turning around and moving back up. And we're hoping to get in on that move before it happens, because yes, in 2024, Dollar General could potentially go back to its all-time highs. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish on Dollar General. But let's just see what the charts has to say, because, you know, as the saying goes, we don't trade with our heart, we trade with the charts. We're going to start off by looking at the moving averages. And remember, when a stock is beneath its 200-day moving average, it means that the bears have control of it. Now, we know that the bears have control of Dollar General, but now that's a long-term moving average price, which gives us a long-term view of how the stock has been performing. If we go to the 8 EMA, which is the 8-day exponential moving average, we see that it recently crossed above the 34 EMA, which is actually a very bullish buy signal. Now, in addition to that bullish indicator, when we go over to the RSI, it also tells an interesting story. When we look at the 1, 2, or 3-day RSI, we see that it had an extreme oversold condition that it's recently come out of. And that often signals a longer trend reversal. And I believe that operating off of that oversold condition, we're going to begin to go back up and test the high of this particular stock's range. And even more bullish than that is that it crossed above the 50% mark. And so on the RSI, if the price action and the momentum moves above the 50% mark, that means that the bulls have gotten control of the stock. And we see that after having been oversold, it's crossed above that 50, which means that the bulls definitely have control of the stock for the time being. But there's some hurdles or some walls that they've got to break through to get a much bigger bull run going. And I'm going to break down those technicals for you as well. Right now, we are operating off of an extremely bearish double top pattern. We have to keep our eyes on that. That price point is $139. And so 2 times the price moved up to that price point, and it has failed to break through. If we do get a breakthrough, I believe that the price will actually jump higher, and that's the big payday that I'm trying to get set up in advance and watch for. And if it does jump higher, it should go all the way up to $152. Now, my target after that would be a move all the way up, back testing a previous area of resistance at 168. That's the big picture bullish view. But Right now, it has to get over $136.40. That's the near term resistance level that it has to defeat. We're watching to see if it can get up above and close above that, and that gives us the confirmation that we need that we're going to continue to move higher on this, because we're not out of the danger zone yet on this overall bearish trending stock. If we do not get above 136, then I think the next area of support below is 130. And that's where we'd be watching for it to take support. I'd probably get out of it in the time being, get back into it at 130. And overall, the stop loss would be around 128. And we want to use a stop loss on this because if the market doesn't do what we expect and Dollar General doesn't do what we expect, it could come all the way back and test its recent low of 101. I don't see that happening because I think there's been a shift in the momentum towards the bullish side, but you need to be aware of what the potential risk is. Now, I'm going to get into some really interesting crypto stuff here in just a minute, but before I do, if you need better trade tools going into 2024, I want you to check out the offer from the Moomoo investment app. These guys are giving away up to 15 free stock for opening and funding an account, but even more important, they're giving away a great interest rate right now of 5.1% for folks in the United States. So get your free stock, start letting your cash work for you, and start trading with better trade tools. Click on the link in the top pinned comment. I'm also going to leave the link in the description of the video. You can click on it there as well and get all the details for you. All right, so today we see that crypto is actually having a bearish day. This is just a mild and slight pullback because Bitcoin and all the altcoins have been continually pushing higher day after day, and I think there's still more room up. We don't have a capitulation moment yet in Bitcoin or the altcoins, and I wanted to bring to your attention this article. Bitcoin millionaires rise by 246% in 2023. Here's how many they are. Now, this is fascinating. When this year began and started off, Bitcoin was trading around $16,000. And on January 1st, there was only 23,795 Bitcoin millionaires. And from that time till now, people have been buying Bitcoin. Now, you know, if you've been on this page, that I've been a strong proponent of buying the altcoins and Bitcoin. When it got down to 15.5, I called it as the bottom, and I said this was absolutely going to be the next year of the best buying potential. In truth, I called that it would bottom in November of 2022. I predicted that in the first couple weeks of January that we would hit the bottom and that it would be the best possible time to buy Bitcoin. And it really did turn out to be true. But here's where we're going from here. At this point in the year, we have jumped from that 23,000 Bitcoin millionaires to 97,497 Bitcoin millionaires, nearly 100,000. That's an incredible jump of people that have made an absolute fortune investing in Bitcoin at the right time. Now, if you're listening to this video, you're going to feel some feelings of FOMO. Even though I was buying throughout the entire crypto winter, I wished that I had bought more because everything's gone up an incredible level, way more than I had even anticipated it would go. I haven't sold anything. Over the last 2 months where Bitcoin's been taking off, I've repeatedly told you I am not going to sell in the crypto accumulation phase because I don't know how high everything's going to go, and I don't want to get locked out of the price point of my favorite altcoin trying to take profit even at 100% pop, because we're seeing things go up 100, 200, or 300%. Now, Bitcoin itself is up 158% in 2023. And here's where things get interesting. And here's a little bit of the warning or the ominous message I want you guys to take away, or the bearish view, because we can't be all bullish all the time on crypto. 89% of those Bitcoin holders I just gave you, 89% of all Bitcoin holders, they're currently in profit. And that should be a concern, especially when I just told you that Bitcoin's up 158%. It means that people are going to be wanting to lock in profit very quickly. And if the algorithm begins to sell, it's going to people are going to be tripping over themselves to lock in that $1 million status that they achieved in 2023 by buying Bitcoin. They want to preserve that money they made. And if it begins to fall, that momentum's going to pick up. And this brings me to a recent video where I told you guys that the last time we went through the Bitcoin cycle, 3 months before the halving event, Bitcoin fell 72%. And then right before the halving event, recovered 72%. And so things are volatile. We're 3.5 to 4 months before we get to the halving event. And we're still got a couple more weeks where we're going to drift up. But at some point, people are going to sell and this thing could capitulate quickly. And then you're going to find that people are going to turn it right around and potentially buy it back up if it follows the past history. And as I've said, guys, history does not repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. And so why is Bitcoin been firing off? Well, everybody knows the answer to that. It's the spot Bitcoin ETF. Imminent approval that the experts are saying is perhaps only 2 weeks away. Now, I want to make this point to you guys that we all know in Wall Street, one of the most common occurrences is a buy the rumor, sell the news. People are buying up the rumor of this spot ETF, and I'm going to tell you that when it gets approved, which it could get approved in the next 2 weeks, that's at the point where I think the real test is going to begin, and it's far more likely that people are going to be locking in profit on the actual news event, and we could see a capitulation moment. And so the good news is I think that the alts and Bitcoin are going to hold their ground, and they're going to continue to go up all the way up to the point of that approval, which looks like it could happen in the next 2 weeks, which means we have 2 more weeks of a micro crypto Bitcoin bull run ahead of us, and I'm going to continue to buy the dips. I'm in some big crypto swing trades right now. I think I'm up a total of $6,000, but I don't think that the cryptos I've invested in have even yet begun to move. One of them is Dogecoin, and I'm going to tell you guys, looking at the charts today, I think that right at this moment we're at is the trigger or the squeeze point. I think very soon we're going to see this thing fire up from around 9 cents all the way up to 12.5 cents, and that's going to be a massive gain for many people. So the actual time frame that people are predicting that the spot ETF will be approved is January 10th, and I'm going to be watching very, very carefully for profit taking January 8th, 9th, and the 10th. I want to just break down this argument for you guys regarding the approval of the spot ETF. The bullish scenario is that the approval of the spot ETF is going to allow a far greater amount of liquidity of traditional investors to begin to invest in Bitcoin. That is a bullish scenario, but it doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to happen. On the alternative, there's a gentleman by the name of Arthur Hayes. He's the founder of a large exchange. He warned that the spot ETF could lead to the downfall of Bitcoin. And so break down those views in one of my upcoming videos. But it's another reason for you guys just to be aware that even though this is bullish news, when it finally comes to pass, there's going to be a digestion and a reality check of what exactly it means. And that could be a moment in which people begin to take some profit on Bitcoin. And that's going to lead us to what is traditionally the true catalyst for the markup phase of Bitcoin, which has been the halving event and perhaps will always be the halving event. And so right now on the table is the kings of catalyst. Either the spot ETF is going to prove to be the king catalyst mover of Bitcoin and crypto right now, or it's going to continue to be the halving event, which is in April of 2024. We're going to see which takes the price of Bitcoin higher. Personally, I'm leaning towards believing it absolutely is going to be the halving event. So let me know in the comment section which you think will win, whether it's the spot ETF that's just going to blow past the barriers of resistance at 48,000, 50,000 and take this all the way up to 100,000, or are we going to get a massive sell-off between now and January 10th and see the price come down only to truly go back up when the halving event occurs. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section of what you think will move crypto. Let me know also if you guys are invested in Dollar General, how you're going to approach it, whether you think it's ready for a bullish move or whether you think it's still under a bearish trend. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of it, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you're having a wonderful, happy holiday season. We're moving towards the end of the year. I wish you guys all the best. Take care. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.